Hello, dear suicidal person. I think of you a lot. I'm very aware that I see sometimes on YouTube and in blogs, and sometimes people are interviewed on the news and so on. People from your side, people who are suicidal, sometimes are courageous enough to speak out, to do a live, to say, I'm struggling, to try and tell other people how it is. And I thought, well, why don't I talk to you from a place of health? So I hope you get my message. Which is to say, there is a part of you somewhere that knows exactly what you need. There is a part next to the self-loathing and the hatred and the pain and the anger and the desperation and the loss and the hopelessness and the fear. There is a part of you that knows what is good for you and what is not good for you. Am I right or am I right? Really? If you don't doubt for a moment, if you listen to the part of you that occasionally says it how it is, that part of you, should you choose to listen to it more, will save your life. A lot of people don't understand feeling suicidal or anxiety or overwhelm. A lot of people get angered by it. A lot of people think you're attention seeking. Some would be right. A lot of people want the problem to go away. A lot of people are desperate to help, don't know what to say, don't know where to begin. A lot of people don't know to touch you more. And a lot of you, feeling suicidal, don't know to let them. The power of touch is incredibly important and we need more of it. Sometimes let people just touch you. Don't need to do anything necessarily, just to be there. People are fearful of vulnerability and they judge it in a massive way. People sometimes don't want to get near vulnerability because they judge it and they fear it. Sometimes your pain and your desperation is too confronting for people who are dealing with their own pain and desperation in their own way. Sometimes we don't want to see ourselves in other people, so you will be crazy and you will be outrageous and you will be selfish and you will be mad. The sad thing is, nobody's coming to do this for you. And very few people are going to be very helpful at all. In fact, at worst, they may abuse their position and their ignorance and hurt you in the process, which is not personal. It's a global issue that we fear vulnerability. And when we see it, we want to attack it and push it away. Very few people want to identify with vulnerability because they feel threatened by it, because we judge it and we criticize it, and we see it as less than. Some of you who are suicidal or who have been courageous enough to step up, and that part of you that knows, that wise part that knows right from wrong for you, hand on heart, not right from wrong for other people, right from wrong for you. You saw and see and know the courage in them and me when we speak up to say, your suicidal thinking is not you. Your mental health issue that right now might be out of control is not you. It is a symptom of a very pained, greedy, overwhelmed culture where we don't talk to each other about the important things. What's okay, what's not okay, what we love, what we don't love, what feels good, what doesn't, what makes us feel we're worthy and what makes us feel we don't belong. Until we look at that stuff as a culture, you're fucked. And frankly, not many people are looking at it or want to look at it, again, because of their own fear of vulnerability. People are petrified of suicidal people. What if I say something wrong? What if they do it? What if it was me that did something? What if I make it worse? What if I've tried everything? There is a part in you that is very healthy, very awake, very aware, and has always been right. We don't listen to that part so much. And then the judgment comes in, and then the ego, and the what are they going to think, and they'll have to be this way for this person or that person. When we listen within, there is a wealth of knowledge that nobody can get near. Nobody can tell you. It doesn't matter how many experts you may have seen or not seen. Please do see a specialist if you're going to see somebody, not just a regular Joe that doesn't know much, particularly if that person, whether they're a professional or not, has problems with their own vulnerability. They're not going to be able to see you, not because they're stupid, not because they don't want to necessarily, but because they cannot see themselves. So when we surround ourselves with people who are fearful of their own pain, their own difficulty, their own anger, their own history, their own reality, their own trauma, they're not going to be able to help you necessarily, not because you're not worthy and not because they don't get it. Often it's because they kind of do get it, but the idea of really getting it is so petrifying that they have to stay in their place, which is not a judgment, it's a reality, it's a global phenomenon. This is an epidemic. I've lost count of the figures of people suiciding or feeling suicidal. We could poll for it here if anybody's willing. You could put a 1 in the box if you've been suicidal in the last 10 years. 1 in the box. A 2 in the box if you've tried to kill yourself, if you want to. This is not personal that people don't get it. We fear being around pain. So we get angry or we get addicted or we get obsessed. Obsession is everywhere. The way that we talk to ourselves is an obsession. The way we help other people is an obsession. The way that we are exhausted is an obsession. We're obsessed. We're compulsively addicted in our culture to all kinds of things. So whatever shame, I'm bad thing that you've got going on, me too. Me too. Humans screw up royally. We do a really good job of screwing up. We don't do such a good job of knowing that internally we know so much about what we need and don't need, and we defer to other people. You know best. Not the ego, not the I am what you think I am what you want me to be. That's the ego. The heart knows. Truly, it's as crazy as it sounds, hand on heart, you know what you need and you know what you don't need. And when we don't listen, we die. And people suffer because of us. So there's a lot of people who may want to help you and don't know how. There's a lot of people who may hate you and resent you for being vulnerable yourself because they can't, because it's too threatening for them, or they just don't want to get near it. It's not personal if people don't get it. It's not personal if people aren't helping. It's sometimes an incredible stroke of luck when somebody blocks you. If you need something, if you need a benefit of some kind to help you because you have some kind of mood issue, mood disorder, mental health issue. Sometimes when people block the easiness that it can be to stay there, to make it easy for us to stay there, I'm not being funny, I'm being serious, it can be a wonderful stroke of luck because we have enablers. When we're mentally ill, when we're unhappy, people can enable us as much as abuse us for it. There's not really a way to win, is the punchline, other than to have a look at what is it that I might be doing that might be hurting me, myself. Not to punish yourself, not to blame yourself, not to say I should be grateful and if only I was more grateful. That's blackmail for the most part. What is there in you, maybe, that you might not be listening to about what is okay and what is not okay in your environment? People, situations, expectations, beliefs, things you tolerate, things you put in your body. Unfortunately, we pathologize people who suffer. There are a lot of black sheep. There are a lot of symptom bearers in our culture. And people, sometimes, it's not personal again, usually, sometimes it's convenient for people to let you have it. Sometimes you are the sacrifice for families, for organizations, for cultures, for societies. Sometimes it suits people to let you be the crazy one. In my experience, when we take a close look at the person who is disturbed, which is just, it's not a judgment, it's a fact. When we have a mess around us, we get disturbed by it. We're human, there's blood in our veins. When we look closely, usually in my experience, at what's going on for somebody who's disturbed, there's a lot of disturbance. It's a reflection of what that person is feeding on, whether it's food or energy. And we get sick. It's like anything. You give anything the wrong kind of ingredients for the makeup of that thing, it gets sick in a big way. And often in our culture, we don't want to look at why. Why are you unhappy? Why do you think this about yourself? Why are you so desperate? We look at sometimes, well, I did this wrong, and therefore I should die. Therefore I'm unworthy of living. Therefore people would be better off without me. Therefore, I'm in somebody's way. No, you are a reflection of me and of everybody on the planet. And there are millions like you. Millions. Many, many people don't talk about it. A lot of men don't talk about it, for example. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of sufferers don't talk about it. A lot of clinicians don't talk about it. I'm also a clinician. I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist, and a coach. People in my profession don't want to talk about the fact they've been suicidal and depressed and anxious and bulimic and addicted and sex-obsessed and psychotic and schizophrenic. And people don't want to talk about this stuff because we judge vulnerability so terrifically in our culture. We see it as a failing. It's a reflection. We're just reflecting back to the world and back to ourselves that we're living in a disturbed way. It's not you, it is a symptom of sickness. It's a very creative one. It's like Donny Epstein says, pain is our invitation to change. And I think when he's talking about it, he means physical pain. But I think it goes the same for emotional pain, and I'm quite sure he would agree with me. There's an invitation for us to take note when we feel something. It's a message. We can listen. But oftentimes we're on our own, and people will let you have it. It's convenient sometimes for you to be nuts. How's that working for you, would be my question. Because there's a lot of pain that is so terrifically unnecessary. I did bad things. We do bad things. People do bad things. We're not bad people. I did terrifically terrible, terrible things that I didn't think I could survive. I honestly didn't. I thought there's no way I can survive how much shame and pain I'm in. Disgusting. I was disgusted with myself in a big way. I couldn't sleep with the shame, embarrassment. Lost everything. Every single thing imaginable that I could think of losing, I lost. Apart from my physical body, which of course I wasn't in a good enough state of mind to show gratitude for that at all. It wasn't important to me at all. I was in hell. Nobody could get near to me. I couldn't speak. There were some days where, back in those days, that I was with my partner and I would just say his name. That's all I could say. I couldn't say a sentence. It was a revolutionary moment for me to be able to get his name out of my mouth. I couldn't back it up with a statement because I had no more words. It was like no letters in my vocabulary, no speech, no noise, no nothing. There were months I didn't speak, couldn't string a sentence together. He asked me if I want a cup of tea or coffee. I couldn't tell you that. That was impossible. Impossible for me to think that straight. Do I want tea or coffee? That was profound. You may as well speak to me in Arabic. I didn't have a clue. Couldn't possibly focus for long enough to be able to answer a question. Wasn't important because I wasn't in the now. I was in the past and I was in the future. Past is depression. When we're depressed, we're living in the past. We're not present to our surroundings. We're not present to the people in our surroundings. And we're often anxious as well, which is in the future. I'm going to mess it up. It's going to be as bad as the future, in the future. And that's all we can see. We're not in the present. We're not aware of what's going on. We're not sane. We're not reflective. But there is a part of you, when you're suicidal, that knows. You know you're damn pissed off, furious, in fact, rageful, murderously so. The people who talk about the fantasies generally don't kill people, whether it's someone else or themselves. The people who talk about it, the people who talk about what's going on within them, do well. But we have to be very selective about the company we keep, because there'll be plenty of doctors and therapists and coaches and other people who will tell you things about you, and some of them might be right. Some of them may be insane, absolutely insane. My profession attracts very disturbed people because we identify with disturbance. It's very familiar. So we need to be very careful. You need to have your own back, because unfortunately not many people are going to do that. Not because they're mean necessarily sometimes, but because they don't get it. They don't know sometimes what's needed. I may not know what's needed, and I've been depressed and suicidal many times. I'm also a very knowledgeable clinician, but I can get it wrong. We get it wrong because it's so subjective, life. You know best, and you always have, and you always will. Moment to moment to moment, we have this profound tool, and it's called the heart. And if you put your hand on it frequently and ask, what is right for me here? What is right for me here? And you listen and you act pretty damn quickly. I would suggest within 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No more numbers, no more stalling. This is Mel Robbins' tradition. Saved her life, saved the lives of many other people. You know, 5 seconds, then you get to move immediately. Beat your brain. We need to beat our brain. This is what she says. She's quite right, because otherwise we kick in and we doubt and we worry and then we withdraw and then we stop. You can use it for anything from the snooze button on the alarm to making a decision about your love life. In a massive way, you know best what serves you, what's right for you. When we know what serves us and we listen and we act, this is what happy people do, is they take a stand, they act. What is right for me and what is not right for me? We notice something long enough to know it's a problem, and we get busy focusing on what it is that does feel good. And if that involves cutting people out of your life, you must do it. It's killing you. If it involves enrolling yourself in something that you know will help me and you've only got savings, you must do it. It's killing you. If it involves leaving an abusive partner, telling the truth, telling somebody no, protecting yourself, having your own back, writing something in the feed here, you must do it. It is killing you. Nobody's coming. It's desperately painful, and unfortunately, there's no real way around it other than personal responsibility, which is equally a swear word for our culture. All that means is responding to yourself. All responsibility means is to respond rather than react. Suicidal thinking and behavior is a reaction. It's a symptomatic reaction to, in my opinion, rage. Guilt turn inward usually is depression for people. I feel guilty because I want something and I shouldn't, be angry at them or, whatever, judge them. So I feel guilty for having these terrible thoughts because we're empathic people. We're love, we're kindness, we're compassion. So when we notice we have these thoughts that are negative, we punish ourselves for it and get very, very critical. It's abusive, it's sadistic sometimes. Nobody's coming. People want to build walls to stop you from jumping off bridges. They don't necessarily want to work out that this is a global phenomenon in our culture because we're starving for connection and love. And we don't have a training in schools or in institutions even in my profession, we don't have a training to talk about the issue a lot. There may be some good schools, in which case you could put it in the feed, because when I was training, when I was teaching in a school, teaching doctoral students how to go out into the field to work as psychologists, doctoral students program. Many of the staff were off frequently on long-term sickness through depression and anxiety and suicidality because they were overworked. They didn't know boundaries, how to say no and yes. They overcompensated for a lack of self-worth. Not all, obviously, many. And they suffered for it because we put others before ourselves, what others think, or at least what we project onto them that we think they think or we perceive. And then we contort ourselves and behave in accordance to whatever it is that we're telling ourselves other people want. It makes us very sick and very unhappy and very symptomatic. Even doctoral student trainees, therapists, coaches, psychotherapists, psychologists didn't want to talk about the fact that on their team they had people who were depressed and who were suicidal and who were off on long-term sickness and who were on medication, etc. Even the practitioners don't want to talk about it with other practitioners. You're fucked unless you look at that voice inside that says, yeah, I know what this is about. I know there's one small thing I might be able to do to save my life. Because we look to other people to save our lives. We look to other people to make it better. And sometimes they don't have the tools or the insight or the resources. And we're surrounded by really desperate people who are just getting by. They're just doing the best they possibly can to get through their own life. We don't have a culture that celebrates you. Do what you want to do. Hand on heart. This is what we know about people on their deathbed. I wish I would have risked more. I wish I would have said more about me, what I want, who I am. I wish I would have stood there and taken more risks. Wish I would have said no. I wish I would have said yes. Nobody's coming. Nobody wants to look. That's not fair. A lot of people find it convenient to use and make money from sickness and pain, and the fact that we look for love in the wrong places, we look for stimulation in all of these places. A lot of people are making a lot of money from those of us that don't step up and look at what is my message truly? What is going on with me truly? What is okay for me truly? What is not okay for me truly? Every time we lie to ourselves or we lie to other people or we lie about ourselves, we're complicit in the fact that our culture is making a mint of pain, emotional pain and physical pain, because obviously we get that too. Many, many people won't want to come near emotional pain because they have their own inner box and they're working hard to drug themselves or fuck themselves in some kind of a way away from the fact that there is something profound that we can do, each of us, which is to put our hand on our heart and say, what will serve me here? And listen. And if that means cutting out a load of people on your Facebook feed and saying, you know what, this is me, I'm doing me, I'm cutting the cords on the things that are draining me or not healthy for me so that I can have a fighting chance. And that includes you, boyfriend, or you, boss, or you, mum, back off, or I'm going to get myself a dog, I'm going to make a stand for me and for my health and what works for me. Have I looked at what I'm putting in my body? Have I looked at my mineral or vitamin deficiency? No joke. Have I looked at my gut health? No joke. Mood, hello, in the gut. Have I looked at the people I'm feeding on, the energy I'm feeding on? Have I looked at the fact that maybe I'm not hydrated? When I was depressed, my tongue used to stick to the roof of my mouth. I wasn't hydrated. I didn't know to drink water. I was abusing myself. This is the point. We are very abusive to ourselves. When people hate on themselves, disgusted with themselves, want to snuff themselves out, probably, I don't know, a beautiful vegan diet with fresh food close to the earth isn't high on your list of agendas right now. It's probably fags and booze and anything you can do, or anorexia or malnourishment of some kind. We're malnourished. If you're in pain, generally speaking, you will be malnourished from food and from attention and from kindness and health. If you know about mental health and you want to talk about it, oh wow, please do. But equally, make sure you balance. Make sure you talk about health as well. Make sure you're around people who influence you, who are really healthy and happy and lit up, who strive for better, who have big goals, who do talk to people with big dreams, who've done big dreams, as opposed to people who are just getting by and just surviving, because they're not going to make you feel great. They're not going to inspire you. They're going to be fearful of you, and you will probably be angered and fearful of them. What is it that you want, hand on heart, truly, madly, deeply? Because every single person I've ever met, and that's a lot, including myself, who's been depressed or suicidal or anxious or overwhelmed, they do not know who they are. They don't listen to their heart. We listen to our head. We listen to other people. We project our worth onto our shoes or our bags or whatever. And everything that we're doing is colluding with ill health. What we tolerate, what we think about, 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Where are they going? Because I'm guessing they're abusing you. I say this often, it's provocative, but it's very true. Many people who have this abusive self-talk do more time in abuse. Many people do more time in abuse than people who are in prison for rape, because you're abusing yourself. Like a little bully following around a vulnerable little kid in its head all the time. You stupid, you fucking this, who are you? All that stuff. That's abuse. And there's no let up. There's not a day off. There's not a moment off. You're with you. You hear you more than anybody else hears you. All the time, 24/7. For what? Days, weeks, months, years, decades, your whole life. We internalize the critic and we snuff our lives out, and nobody's coming. There are so many things that I didn't know. And I was a trainee. I was around therapists all the time. I didn't know. I didn't know about gut health. I didn't know about zinc. I didn't know about water. I didn't know about proximity list, where you have a list of people who are progressive in the world, crushing it, having a wonderful time, being healthy, and going, oh gosh, I'm going to read their book because they've been doing this as an expert for 20 years. I better look at it. Better look at what people are doing for health rather than just pop a drug and defer to a psychiatrist who may not even have a psychiatric training, actually. Doctor, who may not have a psychiatric training. If we're getting drugs for mental health problems, we need to be being prescribed them by people who are experts in their field, not somebody that isn't. We need to ask important questions, because oftentimes when people feel desperate, whether they're professionals or not, they'll try to move to help you, and at best sometimes get it wrong because they just don't have the information, but they feel positioned as an expert to help. But most of us in our culture, in my opinion, don't have a great deal of integrity to say, you know what, there's a better person for the job and I'm going to refer you, because I'm not particularly confident that I know all my bases here. Do I know about holistic treatment? Do I know about the body never lies? Do I know about asking you who's in your environment? What's going on in your life at the moment? What is it you're telling yourself? What are you doing to be around health and wealth and wellness? What's counterbalancing the shock or the horror or the experience that you're in? Often we are suicidal and depressed and overwhelmed because of experiential issues, not biochemical issues a lot of the time. The medical model, the people in the place making the money, are going to be looking at you, talking to one part of you. They're not necessarily going to be looking at, did you know, just while we're all going to have a chat, that this is a global issue and it's now an epidemic? Have a look at your doctor. Have a look at the people around you. Have a look at your environment. Are these people healthy? Do they listen to their heart? Do they move on things that they want? Are they selective with the kind of energy and attention that's in their environment? Are they good role models to you? Are you letting them in? Are you listening to, is this person worthy of my trust? Truly, really? If I get out of my everybody hurts me thing, really, are they a safe bet, hand on heart? Or am I about to step in and sabotage it by telling somebody who is fearful of their own vulnerability about mine, only to have an experience where I feel rejected or pathologized or hurt in some kind of a way? Is this the right person for me to be talking to? Am I punishing myself and punishing other people because I don't know how to say yes and no? Do I know about boundaries? Do I know how to say yes and no? Because people who don't, we suffer like hell. Hell. And it only gets worse until we learn. And there's lots and lots and lots of ways to learn. Lots of ways to learn. There's so much knowledge. Listen to you. Because people will make money from you, and you could live a life where you pathologize yourself, where you're always on the brink, always not good enough, always thinking, one day, when mum dies, when the dog's whatever. Can be a good life. I'm living proof. And I'm willing to take the hit for you people in a massive way. You can see me. You can see me online. You can see what I'm doing. I'm not medicated. This is me, blood, sweat and tears, doing my thing, which is I follow every discipline that I can for wellness. Not because I'm mentally ill, not because I'm fragile, but because I'm human. There's blood in my veins. I'm a living, breathing organism, and I need things to thrive. Not toxins, not nastiness, not judgment, not small-mindedness, with love, not short-sightedness. I need inspirers. I need health and wealth. And if it's in my environment and it's healthy, I'm going to learn, what are you doing to make you so healthy? Not because, are you sick too? No, because you're feeling good in the world. What is the methods you're doing? And I copy them. And I learn more and more and more, and I keep doing it. Nothing threatens me. If I go down, one, it will be because I put myself there. And two, you can watch me and go, good, she was nearly there, but she effed that up, so I'm going to learn from her. I'm happy to be the cannon fodder for this little chat that we're having. But what I do know is so many people are suffering, and we're naive to what we need to do to thrive. And the basics of it are, take a look at what you put in your environment and in your body and get real clear. Is this serving me or is this hurting me? Is this good for my body? Is this bad for my body? Is this good for my heart? Is this bad for my heart? Is this good for my health? Is this bad for my health? Binary rating. And what you can do if you want, if this is useful to you, on YouTube, there's a number of, just put in suicide, Poppy Sprague. There's quite a few stuff in there. Mental health, checklist, the kinds of daily disciplines and habits of people who are healthy, not because they're sick, not because you're going to need social support, because you've had a depression or an anxious time or mental health or whatever. We all have mental health. We all have physical health. We all need the same conditions to thrive. Healthy people who are loving, who are open. We need to know what's okay, what's not okay, and then take action to design a life, to cultivate a life that we want. And you know what suits you. What suits me doesn't necessarily suit you. We're not the same. But the fundamentals are the same. Nobody's going to necessarily get it or want to have the conversations, particularly if there's a conversation running over in your mind about why you're not good enough, or why no one cares, or why it will never be okay. People get exhausted, and it can feel manipulative after a while. People can feel really bound up and positioned. I don't just can't be around them because there's nothing I can do. I feel hopeless in their sickness. One of my really good friends once, I went to stay with her. I was desperately depressed, and she said, "Poppy, I can't have you here. I can't handle it. I can't be around this much anxiety." She's an anxious lady, so my anxiety was triggering her. It was intolerable for her. She was just like, "You have to go. You have to go." Horrible. I was ashamed. I was devastated. Was I angry with her? A little bit, but I got it. it's very threatening to be around vulnerability. We need to learn how to embrace that and love it in ourselves. I love my vulnerability. It's profound. Bring it. Nobody could ever talk to me as badly as I have. Ever. Line them up. Having a fucking laugh. You think I'm going to listen? I've spent my time doing time, done it. Been there, got the t-shirt, read the book, written the book, etc., etc. Nobody can be as mean to you as you. What I do know, though, is people who suffer, there's something pretty fucking special going on there, in there that you're protecting with your life, quite literally. And it's kind of selfish to keep it to yourself when there's a lot of people in a lot of pain with a lot to share. We're the same. We have different methods for doing life, for sure. We have different triggers, for sure, but we're the same. We want to feel worthy. We want to feel seen, heard, understood, and made to feel that we matter. The world over. That's humanity. So you can slap a label on yourself, or poor me, or I did terrible, or you could have a thing, hang on a minute, what do I actually know about what's okay and what's not okay? Maybe I could try something else. Maybe I could take a punt on me, and maybe just for an hour, 15 minutes, I'm just going to do what I know, hand on heart, living in the moment, breathing deep, 3 deep breaths. What do I know is right for me right now in this moment? What one small thing am I going to do? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get up, do it. What's one bigger thing that I could just fantasize about, just allow myself to consider? One bigger thing that I know would be right for me, hand on heart. Yes, please do share. Thank you, Kelly. So I'm here. Me too is the punchline. Me too. Didn't know how I'd survive it. Had no idea. Hated on myself. Tried to kill myself many times. Didn't work. Couldn't even do that right. That's the old joke, isn't it? Finally thought, well, maybe I could look at what I'm doing. I'm here, says Nancy. I allowed an ex-boss being rude to me. In the end, I set boundaries and liberated from this situation. Brilliant. We don't know boundaries in our culture. Again, people are fearful of conflict. If we say no, or if we say no thank you, or if we say, listen, I've set something up here, I just want to have a conversation and let you know what's going on for me, what I need and what I don't need. People get fearful. That's the reason we're in conflict, is because we don't want to address the conflict. We want to stuff it away, put it under the carpet, take a drug, get drunk, to sort of act out. We know what we need and we know what we don't need. We're brilliant. We're profound. There are brilliant reasons why we've become so good at passive aggression and keeping quiet and no, it's fine, I don't mind, or, whatever. We're brilliant. There is this thing called childhood, and we survived it so far, but most of us became someone else to do so. Most of us contorted ourselves, manipulated ourselves, got very savvy very quick and went, oh my God, I need to eat and drink and stay sane and alive and with a roof over my head. So, if I'm like this, then it's the same as them and they won't be so threatened by my individuality because they're fragile. Then, at least I'll get attention. Maybe I'll get love. Maybe I'll get connection. Oh, dad's this, grandma's that, whatever it is. We've become very creative to put ourselves last or to be something, misrepresent ourselves. We had to. It was genius. The weird, contorted, crazy, gross things that we do is phenomenal. It's profound. We're geniuses. I mean, Jesus, the stuff we come up with. It's survival mechanisms. It's profound. Genius. Genius. Have I said genius enough? And meant amazing stuff. It doesn't serve us in adulthood. In adulthood, it backfires. In adulthood, those are the very things responsible for our pain and our suffering and the repeat events that we keep attracting back into our lives as a message, as a lesson. How are you going to do it this time? Same way, same outcome. You don't have to be like anybody now. You can survive now. You're an adult now. Really. You don't have to be a certain way so somebody else doesn't get threatened now. If they do, they will. That's their business, that's their life, that's their reality. Your reality is yours. Their limitations are theirs. Or it can just be more of the same, which I'm guessing is pretty hideous. I wouldn't wish it on a soul. Not a soul. Ever. There's some work to do out here, my friends, all of us, really. We know so much about so much. Nobody can get near it. Nobody can be you. Nobody can do you. Ever. So whatever's got you through to this moment now, you're a genius. Oh my God, powerhouse. Can you imagine if you had 50% more energy? Can you imagine if you had 75? Could you imagine if you were hydrated? Truly. Can you imagine if you had profound people around you going, oh my God, you're brilliant. I love you. Thank you. Teach me. Oh my God. Yes. Good. Tell me what you know. Write your book. Do your play. Become what you want to be. Come out as gay. Come out as straight. Come out as whatever you want. Just be you. Just live. Just breathe. Come back to life now. Stand up. Get up. We've got a job to do. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of crazy. And most of it, ironically, ain't you people. It's the people at the top of businesses who are psychopathic. Guess what? Because they can't embrace their vulnerability because they've been so abused and so terrifically treated that they're crazy. But they're the ones taking your money for the Zopiclone and the Prozac and the stupid shit, the Burger King and the whatever thing that you're putting in your body that's making you sick and crazy and alone. There's some people out here that kind of need us to have a word with and say, you know what, I don't know, this is feeling good. And there are humans here. We're human. People on the street with nothing who have a biography playing in their head about not receiving and money's bad and attention's bad. And if you get, come near, you're going to help me. We need to show some people there's some other ways to do this thing called life. Because at the moment it's a bit messy. And you know, because you've been there. Why would you want to keep that to yourself when you could save somebody's life? You could save my life. Can you imagine me on the floor for 6 months, 9 months probably? Couldn't get up, couldn't get to the fridge. Wouldn't pee. My sister came, I'm like this. Couldn't open my eyes, couldn't say a word. My sister. Couldn't speak to her, couldn't say a word. I hadn't seen her in years. She came, she lied on the floor to give me a hug. I'm like this, can't move, can't speak, can't open my eyes, can't talk, lying in a dark room on my own for months. And you could save my life. Why would you stay quiet? Why wouldn't you want to fight? Why wouldn't you want to drink water? Say no to people. Tell them to fuck off. They have their own life. Tell yourself to fuck off. Tell yourself to get out of your ego mind of me, all about me. You got some stuff to do. Really? Why are you here? For no reason? Oh, because I'm worthless? No. There's a reason you're here. There is a profound reason you're here. It is unheard of. It's like, whoever's up there is going, hello, you're there. You got there. I'm waiting to go down. Oh my God. You've got something that 150,000 people today now no longer have because they've died. 150,000 people globally die per day. Yesterday, now, and tomorrow. You're still here. What are you going to do with being here? Because I'd love to meet you, frankly. Really? I'm on my own sometimes going, where are the fucking other people that have been through hell? Why aren't they saying something? Because I look like a fucking prize prick a lot of the time, but I'm okay with that. I would love to meet you. Come train with me. You could be coaching in a year. Have a think about it. We can all do more. We can all do better. Who do you want to be? Not who you are, not what you've done. That's past. I screwed it up. Really, 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 really. It's hysterically funny and devastating all at once. It's gone now. That's done. Next. What's next? Because nobody wants to look at this, really. And it's very scary to be around you. You're scary when you're depressed, when you're anxious, when you're suicidal. You're scaring people. They don't like it. And some people are going to collude with you because they love you. They want you to be better. They want you to do well, but they don't know any better. So they're making it easier for you to stay small and stuck. It's not helping you. It's enabling you. And in the meanwhile time they're hurting. Actually, it may actually be, which is what classically happens, is when you get well, wow. Oh my God. It's like shining a light on a load of cockroaches and going, oh shit, we're infested. And we just thought there was one. There's never only one, my friends. Never. I do hope you're sharing the video, my friends, because it takes something to stand always in front of each other and look each other in the eye, as sort of possible as that is, given this is a Facebook Live. But I think it would be fair for you to tag friends and to share this out, because there could be somebody that this could help in a big way. There could be somebody that could turn around and help in a big way and step up. We're, you know, who is it that says that the richest place on earth is the graveyard? What we take to the grave, the secrets and the lies. I'm a clinician. I work globally with all kinds of people, from CEOs to children, and wow, such a colourful mix of people and issues in between. We have the same stuff going on. The secrets that people carry. If you could be in my head for a day, you would be like, oh my God, I thought I was a mess. We're all in pain. We're all hiding. To a degree, obviously. We're the same. We have the same fears. We have the same hopes. We have the same needs. We meet them in whatever way we possibly can. And it's not personal and it's not bad. It's human. Be kind. And please be very careful if you're deferring to other people to tell you what you need. Please check first with yourself. Do I know anything? Do I have something to add here? Even if I'm depressed, do I know? Is there something that really I could listen to? And please don't pathologize yourself. It doesn't matter. You got a label of schizophrenia, bipolar, whatever the fuck. Hello? Whatever. It's a symptom of a crazy ass culture where we've lost sight of everything. There is an uprising now, which is the good news. A lot of people are speaking out. And if you pay attention to that, that could be really useful. What are people doing to rise up and actually survive? Find the small things that give you something, that light you up. Binge watch my videos if you want to. Something that lights you up. One of the things I used to do at night is over and over I used to play. I should write to this chap. I really should. In fact, share it out, because maybe he'll know. He saved my life. David Attenborough. Because of his voice. I used to listen to him on YouTube. Planet, the wonderful show that he did about animals, and that man saved my life because I just used to listen to his voice. It's the only thing I could tolerate. For 9 months in bed, that's all I would do, listen to him. Please share the video. It's really important that we have these conversations. And any of us that are playing small, and that means lying, not being who we want to be, not having the conversations that matter, to say to somebody, listen, I love you, I'm going to do me. Clear out anything that doesn't serve you. We have to get active in saving our lives if we want to thrive. It's not because there's something wrong with people. I've never met a mentally ill person and gone, wow, isn't that odd? Every time it is the environment they're in and the things they're feeding on. The expectations that they have of themselves, the things they tell themselves, the focus they have. Really? I've never met anyone and go, oh yeah, wow, that's this profound illness of mood and mentalness. No. It's a symptom. We're crazy in our culture. Crazy stuff that we do, the things we place importance on, the hatred stuff that we do to one another. It's craziness. I've worked in psychiatric hospitals as a clinician. I've trained people to do that work. I've run programs, I've designed programs in psychiatric hospitals. Some of the staff with love are pretty messed up because we attract to what we know. Familiarity is very seductive. We go to the places that we're comfortable. That's why we tolerate stuff that doesn't serve us. We gravitate to crazy stuff because it's familiar. We feel comfortable there. Okay, bring it. Somebody's being terrible, I can handle it because I had to survive that stuff. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we have to do something. Incidentally, I've also been a patient in psychiatric hospitals. That's profound. It's not much difference. Truly. Really. These are sick places. Do you think they take care of people's nutrition in those places, private or otherwise? Oh, no. Don't even... No. No. Do you think people take care of themselves well in life, generally, in our culture? No. We need to find role models. Who is feeding on healthy stuff and thriving? How can I learn from them? Not because you're ill, because you're human. I'm going to send you love and have a look at your comments. You know where to find me. I'm here. Plenty of videos on YouTube. Be kind. If you're around people who are suffering, touch them. And please don't take it personally if they recoil, if they withdraw. It's not personal. Some people cannot bear to be touched. Some people are afraid they're going to cry and flood the world and never stop, fall apart. It's not personal. We don't have to take other people's pain and difficulty and anger and histories personally. It's not about you. So many going through hell finding this. Yeah. You're so loved, Poppy. Thank you for everything, says Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. I send you love. We can all do better in a big way. It's not about us. Just depersonalize it, you know? We all screw up royally. Again, if you knew what I knew about people, there's nobody I've ever met that is squeaky in no way at all. And it's actually comedy, because some of the places where we look to people, they're human there too, in a massive way. Really, really. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. I'm standing here before you because of the things that I teach. Without any aid. I am my aid. I take responsibility. I listen to my heart. I'm on a wing and a prayer and I'm very grateful. And I surround myself with only the creme de la creme of people. You. Anybody crosses a path in any way, it doesn't fit for me, then I exit. Absent myself immediately. Sometimes no explanation, sometimes certainly no apology. We don't have to teach other people why we do things sometimes. And sometimes we do. And you're going to know the truth. Rather than avoid it, you're going to know. Hand on heart, really? Yeah, well, it is going to serve me to have this conversation. I am going to learn from it. If I feel scared to do it, but I know it's right for me, do it. Take care of you, because there aren't very many people that know how to do it, and or people are going to want to take from you and use you for the privilege. People are making a lot of money. We don't know what this medication does to us long term. There's no way we can, because it hasn't been around long enough, but we do know it makes people millions, billions. It's not about the mental illness. It's a symptom of a wider issue, which is we don't talk. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't strive for better. Big love.